Hi, everyone. I found a little something when I was searching for documents on the Moscow case. As y'all know, that's very near where I grew up, my hometown. So the story hits very near and dear in so many ways. And so I found this and I started to read it, and I thought, you know what, why don't I read it to you so we can discuss it later? It looks like it's about something with the case and YouTube. So let's just check it out together, okay? By the way, we're 839 strong, searching for the truth, and I have more tidbits to tell you on that. I'll do that in my Watts discovery, and let's get started with this, whatever it may be. So the way that it starts is it says it's a 12-page document, and it says the United States District Court for the District of Idaho, and it's Rebecca Schofield as the plaintiff versus Ashley Gillard as the defendant, and it says the complaint and demand for a jury trial, right? And the thing that caught my eye was it says the introduction. And it says in November 2022, four students at the University of Idaho were murdered at a home near the campus. The tragedy has garnered attention and inflicted great sorrow. Okay, we know that. Hold on. So something here. Let's see here. Inflicted great sorrow throughout the university, the state, and the country. Defendant Ashley Gillard, Guillard, so I don't know if that's a Gui or a Goo, a purported internet sleuth, decided to use the community's pain for her online self-promotion. She has posted many videos on TikTok falsely stating that the plaintiff, Rebecca Schofield, a professor at the university, participated in the murders because she was romantically involved with one of the victims. Oh, girl. Gillard's statements are false. Professor Schofield did not participate in the murders, and she had never met any of the victims, let alone entered a romantic relationship with them. Guillard's videos have been viewed millions of times, amplifying Guillard's online persona at the expense of Professor Schofield's reputation. Professor Schofield now sues Guillard for defamation. And that's the thing about all of this, is that people need to be careful. I mean, news channels have insurance, and everything they say is vetted through their attorneys back and forth, and they're backed by millions of dollars of policies, and still they're very, very careful about what they say. They make sure it's vetted. Occasionally they get it wrong and they get sued too. But I am one broke hoe. I cannot afford to get sued. Okay, I share these things with you. I am not a person who keeps anything in my bank account. Sometimes it's hard to buy gas. It is what it is. So I'm not gonna go out there and say something that I can't prove is true, or that I do not see is proven. So this is very interesting to me, and that's why I thought you guys would like to kind of hear it too. And why it's important to listen to reputable sources, and don't even pay attention to the ones who are out there just trying to be tragedy pimps and get attention and money for themselves, because they're hurting real people with real lives, and this is being shown by Professor Schofield. So it says, Part 2, the parties. Plaintiff Rebecca Schofield. Professor Schofield is an individual residing in Idaho. She is an associate professor and the chair of the history department at the University of Idaho in Moscow, Idaho. Number 2, defendant Ashley Gillard is an individual residing in Texas. She is a TikTok personality who purports to solve crimes online. Well, she's got a little Scooby-Doo in her, huh? Jurisdiction and venue. Jurisdiction is proper under 28 USC and 1332 because there is diversity of citizenship and the amount in controversy exceeds $75,000. Ooh. Venue is appropriate under 28 USC and 1391 because Professor Schofield is an Idaho resident and a substantial part of the events giving rise to the claims occurred in Idaho. Wow. Okay. Factual allegations. In the early morning hours of November 13, 2022, four students at the University of Idaho were tragically murdered in a home near their campus. It is a tragedy that has gripped the entire university community, forever affected the students as families, brought tremendous sorrow through the state of Idaho, and garnered national media attention. To respect the privacy of the victims of the families, this complaint refers to the victims by their initials KG, MM, XK, and EC. Professor Schofield was not in Moscow, Idaho when the murders occurred. She and her husband were in Portland, Oregon, visiting friends. They stayed in a hotel, checking out in the morning of November 13th after the murders occurred. They drove from Portland to Moscow, a drive of more than 5 hours, arriving after law enforcement officers had discovered the murders. So they're accusing a married woman of being involved with one of the 6 females that lived there. I mean, it's not unheard of for a married lady to step out with another lady, but come on. Oh, anyway, Professor Schofield did not commit or in any way participate in the murders of the 4 students. Professor Schofield has taught at the University of Idaho since 2016 in January. She became the chair of the history department in July 2021. None of the 4 students who were murdered ever took a class from Professor Schofield. Although the University of Idaho is a relatively small university, she does not recall ever meeting any one of these students. Professor Schofield has also never met Ashley Goulard. Ashley Goulard promotes herself on Amazon and TikTok as an internet sleuth that solves high-profile unsolved murders by consulting tarot cards and performing other readings to obtain information about the murders. She has purported to solve the murders of musician Kirshnik Karibal, aka Takeoff, Shankella Robinson, Tiffany Valenti, Kevin Samuels, and the November murders at the University of Idaho. What curriculum vitae she holds. TikTok is a social media platform through which persons can post short videos, typically of no more than 1 or 2 minutes. TikToks primarily are recorded by a person using her own cell phone to record a video and then posting through the person's account on the TikTok platform. Individuals with TikTok accounts can review other people's TikTok accounts, can post comments on the various TikTok accounts, and can repost another TikTok user's posts. On or about November 22nd, 2022, Guillard began posting TikTok videos about the November murders at the University of Idaho. She asserted that the murderer had some history with one or more of the victims, and that the murderer was someone who previously was involved with one of the victims, possibly an ex. On information and belief, Guillard has never been to Moscow, Idaho, or to any other location in Idaho, and that she has no basis to make factual statements about any of the events that have occurred there. Oh, damn. On or about November 24, 2022, Guillard posted 6 TikTok videos to her account, and the account is called Ashley is in the Book of Life. Oh, be still, my heart. In which she falsely stated that Professor Schofield, the chair of the history department, was responsible for the 4 students' deaths. 2 of the TikToks directly and falsely state that Professor Schofield ordered the execution of the 4 students. Oh, are you kidding me? 3 of the TikTokers either falsely implied or directly stated that Professor Schofield had been involved in a relationship with one of the murdered students, KG. Nice. Real nice. This woman, Three of the TikToks Gilliard posted to her website on November 24th, 2022 also used Professor Schofield's photo from the University of Idaho website. Oh my. Oh. Upon information and belief, Gillard did not receive permission to use Professor Schofield's official university photograph. I should think not. Gillard's November 24, 2022 TikToks were not based on any facts or any information known to Gillard. Her statements that Professor Schofield ordered the murders and that Professor Schofield had a relationship with one of the victims are false. On the following day, November 25th, 2022, Gillard posted an additional 5 TikTok videos falsely alleging that Professor Schofield ordered and planned the murders of the 4 students. In 3 of the videos, Gillard falsely stated that Professor Schofield and a student and the University of Idaho Juris Doctorate, JD, together planned the murders of the 4 students. Oh my god. Okay, so she's saying that her and another one, let me see. It went on another page. I'm going to explain something. So it says here in 3 of the videos, Gillard falsely stated that the Professor Schofield and a student at the University of Idaho, JD, together planned the murders of the 4 students. So that would be the law program, I believe, because it says JD, so University of Idaho Juris Doctorate. The reason why my eyes kind of crossed because I was reading that, so it it had a little one pertaining to the hyperlink that was embedded that gave the person's TikTok account, and it says, given the continuing nature of Gillard's torturous conduct, a hyperlink to Gillard's TikTok account has been provided. Professor Schofield prays for relief against all such false statements, whether specifically referenced herein or created after the filing of this complaint. I thought about not stating that in the moment that I did read the hyperlink, but I wanted to read it because I want you guys to know the facts, but please don't go and look because all that does is drive more traffic there, which gives her more money. In our quest here, where we are committed to finding the truth and the facts, when there has been so much that has been done to so many people that are based out of fallacies and absolute rumors of people trying to get their internet fame, it's important that we do not become a part of the problem, and a part of the problem would be to go to that site. So be aware of what it is and steer away. Now, the complaint and demand for jury trial is Professor Schofield has not met JD. Oh, okay. You know what? Maybe it's not saying that this person is in the Juris Doctorate program. Maybe it's just saying that that person's initials are JD, the way it looks now. Sorry, I misspoke. So it says, Professor Schofield has not met student JD and has never had him in a class. She has never partnered with him on anything. She did not partner with him to murder the 4 University of Idaho students. All right, that's what that means. Gilliard's November 25th, 2022 TikToks were not based on any facts or any other information known to Gilliard. Her statements that Professor Schofield partnered with another student to plan or carry out the murders are false. On November 28, 2022, Gillard posted 6 TikTok videos in which she falsely alleged, either by explicitly stating so or posting text with her videos, that Professor Schofield participated in or was otherwise responsible for the murders of the 4 University of Idaho students, and that she did so because of her prior relationship with KG. Okay, boo? Was the door shut? Okay. In one video, she wrote the words in quotations, Rebecca Schofield's thoughts as she ordered the murder of the 4 University of Idaho students. Oh my word. Remember, she's getting these from the tarot cards. Nothing against tarot cards. I have some tarot cards because I really like the designs on them, but I don't read them. I don't know how to read them. I'm not that talented. And obviously, this woman isn't either. Gilliard's November 28, 2022 TikToks were not based on any facts or any information known to Gilliard. Her statements that Professor Schofield ordered or in any way participated in the murders or that she was involved in a personal relationship with KG are false. By November 28, 2022, Gilliard had been directly informed that her TikTok videos alleging that Professor Schofield was involved in the murders were false. Nevertheless, she continued posting her TikTok videos, aware that they were false. In one TikTok video, she wrote, "I don't care what y'all say. JD and Rebecca Schofield killed KGMMEC and XK. Rebecca was the one to initiate the plan and hired JD," as she put all in caps, as is stated here. In parentheses. On November 29, 2022, Professor Schofield, through counsel, sent Gilliard a cease and desist letter informing her that her TikTok videos stating that Professor Schofield was involved in the murders or that she had a romantic relationship with KG were false and defamatory, demanding that she take down her defamatory videos, demanding that she cease in making such videos, and demanding that she issue an apology to Professor Schofield. Gilliard did not stop posting defamatory TikToks, falsely stating that Professor Schofield was involved in the murders or that she had a romantic relationship with KG. On November 29, 2022, and November 30th, 2022, Gilliard posted additional TikTok videos falsely stating that Professor Schofield was involved in ordering and directing the execution of the murders of the 4 students. She was not. Since December 1, 2022, Gilliard has continued making false statements in her TikTok videos, falsely asserting Professor Schofield's involvement in the murder of the 4 University of Idaho students, and falsely stating that Professor Schofield was involved in ordering the murders and was present in Moscow, Idaho, to ensure they were carried out. She falsely stated that, inter alia, that A. Rebecca Schofield is going to prison for the murder of the 4 University of Idaho students, whether you like it or not, December 1, 2022. B. I am not worried about Rebecca Schofield suing me because she will using her resources to fight for murder cases. Oh, hold on. I am not worried about Rebecca Schofield suing me because she will be using her resources to fight for murder cases. Then in parentheses, she ordered the execution, the murders of KGMM, XK, and EC, December 1, 2022. C. That Professor Schofield's motive in ordering the murders and finding someone to carry it out was because she was dating a student, December 4, 2022. And D. Professor Schofield decided to kill the students because KG wanted to take a break in their relationship, December 5th, 2022. And then E. Professor Schofield was going to help the person she hired to carry out the murders achieve the dream of playing on the Professor Schofield was going to help the person she hired to carry out the murders achieve the person's dream of playing on the University of Idaho's tennis team, December 5th, 2022. And F. JD killed the 4 students because Becca told me to, in parentheses. And G. A reporter with the Spokesman Review newspaper was protecting the killer. In the article suggesting the TikToks were false on December 12th, 2022. Okay. I grew up with the Spokesman Review, and I remember my dad reading it every morning. The Spokesman Review was everything. As Gilliard's prior TikToks falsely stating that Professor Schofield was involved in or ordered the murders, Gilliard's December TikToks had no basis in fact. They were false. Persons with TikTok accounts can comment on the TikTok posts of the others they follow. Many TikTok users warned Gilliard that her statements were false and that she was defaming Professor Schofield, among others. Gilliard did not stop making false and defamatory TikToks, despite being warned of their falsity multiple times by persons commenting on her TikToks. Equally concerning, other TikTok users commented that they believed Gilliard's false statements that Professor Schofield ordered the murder of KG, MM, XK, and EC, that Professor Schofield was romantically involved with KG, and that they have wondered when Professor Schofield would be brought to justice. Oh my word. On December 8, 2022, Professor Schofield, through counsel, sent a second cease and desist letter, enclosing the first, and again demanding that Gilliard take down her defamatory posts and that Gilliard stop making defamatory TikToks. Rather than change her conduct, Gilliard made a TikTok showing the cease and desist letter, acknowledging she received it, and explaining that if Professor Schofield, through counsel, believed that Gilliard was making false statements, counsel would need to file actual legal documents in a federal court asking me to remove it. A judge will then determine if I need to remove it. Sounds like she followed your instruction, ma'am. 32. After receiving the cease and desist letter, Gilliard on December 18th and 19th, 2022, posted more than 20 new TikTok videos falsely stating that Professor Schofield was involved with KG, and that Professor Schofield's motive for the murders was to keep KG from making their relationship public. Well, what do you think of that? 33. Gilliard has continued to publish false statements about Professor Schofield on TikTok despite having no basis for making the statements and despite being notified numerous times that her statements are false. Professor Schofield has never met Gilliard. She does not know her. She does not know why Gilliard picked her to repeatedly falsely accuse her of ordering the tragic murders and being involved with one of the victims. Professor Schofield does know that she has been harmed by the false TikToks and false statements. Yeah, I can imagine. Gilliard's false TikToks have damaged Professor Schofield's reputation. They have caused her significant emotional distress. She fears for her life and for the lives of her family members. She has incurred costs, including costs to install a security system and security cameras at her residence. She fears that Gilliard's false statements may motivate someone to cause harm to her or her family members. Yeah, because there's wackos out there. And now 5 of the court. First claim for relief, defamation and false statements regarding murders. Mr. Schofield re-alleges and incorporates by reference all prior paragraphs of this complaint as if set forth in full herein. In her TikTok posts between November 24, 2022 and present, Gilliard made false and defamatory statements implicating Professor Schofield in the murders of the 4 University of Idaho students more than 40 times. As Gilliard's false statements involve criminal accusation, they are, per se, defamatory in nature. Gilliard knew her statements were false because she had no knowledge about anything happening in Moscow in and around November 13, 2022. Gilliard further knew her statements were false because they were not based on any facts, because persons commenting on her posts told her they were false, and because Professor Schofield twice sent Gilliard cease and desist letters regarding the false and defamatory posts. 40. Gilliard's false TikToks defamed Professor Schofield because they were viewed millions of times and widely reposted by other TikTok users, resulting in Professor Schofield's name being linked to murder in a basic internet search. As a result of Gilliard's false statements, Professor Schofield's reputation was injured, and she was subject to online ridicule and threats from Gilliard's online commenters. She also fears that her or her family will be the target of physical violence. The online nature of Gilliard's false statements continues to harm and damage Professor Schofield. Gilliard's TikTok account has more than 100,000 followers, and some of her TikToks defaming Professor Schofield have 2.5 million likes, indicating that the person has viewed the video and liked it. Professor Schofield has been damaged by Gilliard's false statements. Her reputation has been tarnished, and she has suffered extreme emotional distress from the constant public attention and the ongoing conversation regarding her role in the murders as falsely alleged by Gilliard. Wow. Y'all know I must stir my tea. I've got my lemon loaf dessert tea. As I was telling you, there's actually no lemon flavoring in the Tazo lemon loaf dessert tea, as I read in the ingredients. So I guess it's just a bit of magic to make it taste like lemon loaf, right? Just a second. Let me see here. Okay, that's very good. I do 2 tea bags for a 12-ounce mug. I find that 1 tea bag is enough for like an 8-ounce. But when you get into the bigger mugs that, are really popular now, we used to just always have our coffee cups that were 8 ounces, and that was fine. I find that my tea tastes really watery when I do that. So I do definitely 2 tea bags, and with my lemon loaf tea, I like French vanilla creamer in it too. So, in the second claim for relief, the defamation false statements regarding relationship. Number 43, Professor Schofield re-alleges and incorporates by reference all prior paragraphs of this complaint as if set forth in full herein. In her TikTok post between November 24, 2022, and the date of this complaint, Gillard made false and defamatory statements that Professor Schofield was or had been romantically involved with one of the murdered students, KG. As Gillard's statements involve moral turpitude, a professor being involved with a student, they are, per se, defamatory in nature. Ooh, we brought in moral turpitude. Gilliard knew her statements were false because she had no knowledge about anything happening in Moscow, Idaho, or at the University of Idaho. She does not know Professor Schofield and did not know KG. Gilliard further knew her statements were false because they were not based on any facts, because persons commenting on her posts told her that they were false, and because Professor Schofield twice sent Gilliard cease and desist letters regarding the false and defamatory posts, but Gilliard continued thereafter to post additional TikTok videos with false statements. Gilliard's false TikTok defamed Professor Schofield because they were viewed millions of times and widely reposted by other TikTok users. Gilliard's false statements defamed Professor Schofield's professional reputation and career at the University of Idaho, as university policy prohibits faculty members from having romantic relationships with university students. As a result of Gilliard's false statements, Professor Schofield's reputation was injured, and she was subject to online ridicule and threats from Gilliard's online commenters. Probably not to mention her husband was probably looking at her like, what the? She's like, I did not. Allegedly, don't come for me now. Number 48, Professor Schofield has been damaged by Gilliard's false statements. Her reputation has been tarnished, and she suffers extreme emotional distress from the constant public attention and the ongoing online conversation discussing the false relationship with a student is falsely alleged by Gilliard. And now we are down here to attorney's fees. As a result of Gilliard's conduct, Professor Schofield has been required to retain the services of Stoll Rives, licensed legal professional, LLP. Plaintiff requests that she be reimbursed for all reasonable attorney's fees and costs as permitted under federal and state law. And then she has a prayer for relief. Professor Schofield prays for judgment in her favor and against Gilliard, as well as number 1, compensatory and punitive damage is in an amount to be proved at trial. Number 2, attorney's fees, costs, and disbursements incurred here. Number 3, prejudgment and post-judgment interest, and number 4, all such other relief as the court deems just and equitable. And she puts forth a demand for a jury trial. Professor Schofield requests a trial by jury. Professor Schofield requests trial by jury of not less than 12 persons as to all issues triable to a jury. And the complaint and demand for a jury trial is all signed, and it is signed by Stoll Rivs, Wendy Olson, Elijah Watkins, and Corey Garone, attorneys for the plaintiff. Boom, boom. Okay. So, what do we think? As we know, the two girls, well, one of them being KG, and M, they were not sisters by blood, but by love. Okay? They grew up together. They went to college together. They were in the same fraternity together. And one had graduated early and started moving her stuff down to, I believe, Arizona. And so she didn't have her furniture still at the house. So when she came back, she stayed with her roommate, where they were sharing rooms previously. So they were either in the same room or same bed while they were tragically stabbed to death, allegedly. So their sister, not by blood, by love, and sometimes love is stronger than blood. I'm not saying it's not, but I'm saying that the sister has been vocal, as well as their dad by love, one by blood. And as such, they were requesting a GoFundMe and a private investigator because they were getting frustrated due to what they felt was lack of progress on the case. Now, look at things like this that are also going on. So while that family is suffering and they're coming forward saying, look, nothing's being done, what they're not also saying is that these kinds of people are making a fortune online saying things that aren't true because actual factual information isn't coming forth. We live in a fast society where we want fast answers. We watch TV shows where the first 2 minutes the entire crime happens, and by the end of that 48-minute episode, figuring in commercials for a 60-minute episode, in 48 minutes or less, we see that, oh, the detectives found everything, brought it to these extremely advanced crime labs that we actually do not have, and those crime labs don't have the time limitations for the things that we do have, and that there's a trial and everything is all sealed up, signed, and the bad guys are put away, all in 48 minutes or less. And that's not our real world. Our crime docudramas are that. They are docudramas, and they are fairy tales is as old as time, where, you know, the victim is victimized, bad guys are bad guys, truth and lies, and at the end, everything is right and good, and the police did their job. Things aren't that simple, and that is contributing to people like the person being sued, because she's probably made an awful lot of money on TikTok by these false statements. I think that it will be interesting to see how they break that down. Hopefully, they'll get a forensic accountant and break down how TikTok is paid out, and what other social media platforms this person has, to show how the traffic from that drove to others, and how from that the advertising money that she got. I know that there's something called Social Blade that you can see how much money somebody's made. You can check mine. I've made 0.0. I've not made a cent on anything. Um, I think Social Blade says what people make, but I think that's on YouTube. I don't think it's on TikTok or anything like that, but I don't know. So it'll be interesting because I think, in my opinion, if I was a juror, I would think that all of the monies that were made from the the fallacies be given back to Professor Schofield and her family times three. So all of the monies given back times three. So then she needs to come up with twice over of that. And I mean, usually damages are thought of in triplicate like that. Whereas, if you're injured in a car accident, they take the monetary amount of your injuries and your health care bills and times that towards three for your settlement. Of course, 1/3 of that goes to your attorneys, and that will happen here too. As stated, her attorneys will they'll be getting their fees, and most likely a portion of what she receives from the jury demand. Now, will this person pay it? I don't know. I mean, I think that attorneys vet who they're going to sue civilly. They check their assets, and they see. I'm confused on some of the people who are being sued on YouTube. Like, I'm not going to say their names because I don't want to be sued by them next. But, like, this one particular chick, she keeps getting sued, and I don't see how it doesn't scare her. I mean, she's got big names suing her. And it doesn't appear that she cares. She just keeps talking the same smack. And she has big, huge celebrities that have sued her. I'm going, I don't know how you have that much money and how you're not scared, because I would shut my mouth. I have received one cease and desist letter in my life. And it upsets me because what I was saying and did say was 100% true. It was about a daycare provider that purported herself as a Christian daycare. And as I knew where her thing was in the neighborhood, because all of us could hear the kids screaming and crying all day long. So when I saw that her daycare license was revoked by the state for repeated and substantial child abuse, I thought that other people should know that. And she promptly, even though I said exactly as the state document said, she sent me a cease and desist. I wiped my ass with it, but let's not be... I'm kidding. It's a figure of speech. I just let it go because I was like, you know what? I know I'm telling the truth. The problem is that what she went and did is that she had everything expunged. So she hired attorneys to fight her charges, and I don't believe that the abuse charges were canceled. I mean, they were substantiated, but she had an attorney hide them and expunge her record. And she went on to just practice daycare without a license. So those who are not savvy and are not asking to see the license and calling the state and checking the license, I didn't do that when I used a couple of daycare providers over the years. I didn't be like, okay, what's your state number? I'm going to go ahead and call and see if that's active. And if you've had any complaints, and if any of those complaints are closed, substantiated, expunged, sealed. She just went on saying that she was this wonderful Christian daycare provider, and it's disgusting to me. And it was really frustrating to get that cease and desist because that's not what they're supposed to be for. They're supposed to be for this. When people are saying things that are not true and unsubstantiated, that's when they are. When somebody is telling the truth about what you're lying about, you can't really do that. But you know what? I just wasn't in the mood to continue it. I just had to hope that, you know, someday the truth will, and others that obviously know the truth will speak more often and louder than I did. But I just think it's gross when people exploit Christianity to act like they're a better person or a provider of daycare, etc., etc. So, what do you guys think of that? I think that it's important to remember that if you are talking about something that you did not yourself witness, you need to say allegedly, um, and be careful about what you hear on other creators' profiles. Don't follow anybody that you know is not trustworthy. You're telling the truth. Don't be a part of the problem. Um, and I think many more of these lawsuits are going to happen, and it's going to be interesting. I think that, this new age of YouTube creators coming out and speaking so well, where she's going out and saying she has solved murders, she has solved high profile cases. That's problematic because where has she solved them? Has she, is she noted? Did she go and testify at the trial? Is she deputized by the sheriff's department? Where can we see her work? How did she do the forensics? Are the people that she solved crimes for, are the criminals in prison now? I mean, what do we have for her work? Anyway, I thought you guys would like that, and thanks again for always being so kind to me and giving me your time and your attention. And I'm saying too many ums, so I'll stop. I will talk to you guys again soon. Thanks for listening.